To many Native Americans, the buffalo are considered a form of kin and for centuries were essential to their culture and their very rhythm of life. Utilized for food, clothing, and tools, many traditional ceremonies revolved entirely around promoting the health of the buffalo herd. In the 16th century, North America contained 25 to 30 million buffalo, but with white men moving west and a high price to be paid for buffalo skins back east, the North American bison were hunted almost to extinction. To many natives, the loss of the buffalo from the land was equally as egregious as being forced onto the Western reservations. Now, 130 years later, and after decades of effort, buffalo are finally being reintroduced on Shoshone land at the Wind River Indian Reservation in central Wyoming.
Zijn beetje, dat is een beetje aan onrustinga. Ik, oenge shika se dinguch, osu shika beetje ram suka hatwin. I'm really happy to offer a prayer for something that we haven't seen in a number of years here. What our older folks used to thrive on, what we used to survive on, was the bison, the buffalo. In Indian culture, we have survived on these animals, and it's a great day to welcome them back again today.
The Wind River Reservation is like 2.3 million acres. There's hundreds of thousands of acres that are unfenced, and this was the ideal place. If you go to many other reservations, there's private land here, a little piece of tribal land there, and it's so fragmented, you don't have these big landscapes.
Through our relationship with the Department of Interior and the Lander Fish and Wildlife Service office, we identified potential source populations that met the need of genetically pure or genetically reputable, but we're also from non-disease exposed populations, which meant that we were a lot more flexible in bringing bison back here. Wyoming and buffalo is highly controversial because of brucellosis.
This idea has been created that buffalo will threaten the cattle market, but elk also carry brucellosis. There's never been a proven case of transmission of brucellosis from a buffalo to a cow, but the fear still exists.
In this particular area, we have cattle producers, so we paid for a big fence that would hold them in and electrified it and gave the adjacent landowners the time for them to express, what their concerns were so that we're not jeopardizing their livelihoods in any way.
The idea that bison pose an economic threat to cattle ranchers, that buffalo will eat grass meant for cattle, that buffalo meat will supplant beef. Sometimes people talk about an obstacle so much, even if it's false, it becomes true in their minds. But it's really not a threat, and it's something that we can overcome.
What my grand vision was to manage them as wildlife in the northern boundary of the reservation as a wildlife species. That means basically letting them run on 700,000 acres. That was obviously very controversial, and I had to scale back my attempts to get buffalo back here by directly working with the Shoshone Business Council. They said this is where we want to see our buffalo program, and so I ran with it.
And really it was about building community and building relationships. It was reaching out to the tribal liaisons to the governor's office and just saying, this is what the tribe wants and we want your support, and it happened today.
Prior to today, the tribes managed 6 of the 7 ungulate species that were here before Lewis and Clark, including the predators. There's very few places in the West that's the case.
There has been times through the years when the United States government has stood on the wrong side of this issue, and it's truly humbling but also proud to now stand on the right side of this issue and to help restore bison to this landscape. I just want to congratulate them and their leadership and Jason Baldus and everyone else involved in this, and we're just honored to have played any role, and congratulations. What a truly wonderful day for the Eastern Shoshone people.
This is incredibly important for tribal culture because this is not only about ecological restoration, it's about cultural revitalization. The history between buffalo and Native Americans is almost synonymous. We both occupy remnants of our vast territory that we once inhabited. They tried to stamp out our culture. They tried to stamp out our language. They tried to annihilate the buffalo to annihilate Native people. by being proud of who we are as Native people and being able to have buffalo in our lives again means that we've reconnected a severed tie that's been 131 years old.